Hello everybody, my name is James Turnipseed. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're saying hey yo to the bad guy. So this is WWE's Living on a Razor's Edge, the Scott Hall story. Which you got some cool stuff. 3-disc set. Just came out recently, I think a couple days ago. I'm not sure. But here, we'll do this when you open it up. I always love that they put pictures. Here's the back. All those glorious pictures, and then the pictures behind the DVD and on the DVD. So disc 1, which has a story, look at him in the 80s with that mustache that everyone in the 80s had, and the dark hair. So then the first one, you open it up, and you get all the stuff on the side, what's on everything. Then you get given Michaels the Razor's Edge. So, just pop that back in. And disc 2, if it wants to cooperate. So there's disc 2 with a razor. And this is either Booker T or Stevie Ray of Harlem Heat in WCW. Which, why is there a WCW picture on back of the Razor DVD? But okay. And then disc 3 is Scott Hall, NWO. And on the back, you got him smacking Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, let's get into it. I'll read you the stuff on the side. We'll talk about disc 1 real quick and then we'll get into it. So, disc 1, a life-changing event back in Orlando, a storybook life, moving to Florida, second degree, getting his start, AWA experience. It ain't New York City, Razor's born, another level, humble superstar, a new situation, making things bigger, falling apart, a dark place, fighting on a daily basis, just what I needed, one place to go, bad times don't last, back in the family. So, this is actually really interesting. Here, let me turn the light on real quick. Makes a bit of a difference, but not really, because of my fat head. But, yeah, this is really interesting, and I've been waiting for this DVD for a long time. Because if you don't know, Scott Hall actually shot and killed some guy in self-defense in Miami before he became a pro wrestler, working at a strip club, bouncing. So they get into that, and they go pretty deep into that. It's not the happy, hey, that they usually do where they get friends and family from school, talk about high school and everything. They go pretty dark and give you his actual full story. He talks about shooting the guy in self-defense and not going to therapy right after, which you probably should have. And then it goes into where he becomes a pro wrestler. They don't go too heavy on the WCW side, which I was kind of hoping for, but like you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 matches from WCW out of 2 DVDs. Disc 2 is half him wrestling in the 80s for AWA and then going to and a little bit in WCW when he was the Diamond Exchange. But then the rest is Razor. And then it goes WCW and then back to WWE. Back to the first part. The stories and the tale is really interesting and pretty dark. I'm actually looking for the rating. TV 14 LV, which kind of crazy. But yeah, they go into him shooting the guy and then not being okay with it, but being okay with it, pretending it never happened. So he talks about that. And then he talks about AWA and everything, and then Razor. And then they do a little bit of WCW, like I said before, but not much. They show when Vince sued him for portraying Razor, but he says, I'm portraying Al Pacino from Scarface. So they actually have some footage of him at the court, and he says like, "Hi Vince, love you," sticking it to him. And then they go a little bit into the when WWF at the time brought in a fake Diesel and a fake Razor, which fake Diesel was actually the man you know as Kane. So think about that. I would hope for a Kane DVD where they dabble into his failed past when he was Isaac Yankem and Diesel. Uh, but yeah, so then they talk about Razor for a while. Going to WCW, they dabble into the Last Call Scott Hall. If you remember that in WCW when he was portraying a drunk because he was a drunk. And they bring in his son Cody Hall to talk about stuff too, and he talks about being a shitty husband but a decent father. And they show pictures when he's playing with the kids back in the day and stuff. And then they dabble into when he went way dark and was talking about. They have DDP and Jake Roberts. They use some footage from the DDP Yoga for the Resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts movie that you can buy on Amazon, which I did. So yeah, they talk about that, and they show footage when he first came out the hospital and went straight to a pro wrestling show and looks terrible. And they talk about Kevin Nash telling Triple H that he's done with him, he can't help him no more, but then helped him again, trying to get him healthy. And they also have footage from the Click DVD when he goes into the Hall of Fame. With Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels makes that comment like, "Hey, I made it to yours. You didn't even make it to mine." Because they sent him an invitation, but he declined it. Like, he didn't show up. Scott Hall didn't show up to Shawn Michaels Hall of Fame induction. And then they get into him cleaning his life up, being better to his kids, hanging out with his kids, getting them pro wrestling, and back into the WWE family, which is a great place to be. So yes, on disc 2, you get a bunch of Razor Ramon debut vignettes, which if you remember those, that's like old promos they used to do back in the 90s, which were pretty cool. You get some stories, just as big as the wrestlers, the Oz Mask, Scott Ramon, Let There Be Kids, Don't Ever Leapfrog Again, Weekend in ECW, Wake Up Call, and WrestleMania 31. And in matches, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, American Starship versus Inferno and Inferno 2, 1 and 2. I think that's him and Kurt Hennig. I haven't watched the matches because time. ESPN Championship Wrestling, Scott Hall versus Michael P.S. Hayes from 80, this is 84, 85, 85, 85, 86, 91, 91, 92, 93, 93, 93, 93, and 94. So yeah, ESPN Championship Wrestling Battle Royal, where the winner gets $100,000. ESPN Championship Wrestling in this corner was Scott Hall. Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig versus the Long Riders for the AWA Tag Team Championship match. Clash of Champions, the Diamond Stud versus Tommy Ritchie. WCW in 91, the Diamond Exchange versus Brian Lee and Chris Sullivan, which the Diamond Exchange is DDP and Scott Hall. And then Razor Ramon versus Paul Dell from Superstars in 92. WWE Championship match, Bret Hart versus Razor Ramon, which I think is one of the only times he ever wrestled for the actual uh, heavyweight championship. I know he did it again in WCW versus Sting, I want to say. Then Razor Ramon versus the 1-3 Kid, which I'm pretty sure is the one you already seen 17 times. 1-3 Kid's debut, yeah, because it's the Kid, so it's that one. Another IC Championship match for Shawn Michaels, not the ladder match. And then another IC defense versus Rick the Model Martel. And then the ladder match from WrestleMania 10 we've seen 20 times on 6 different DVDs. And then this 3, Razor Ramon versus with Walter Payton versus Shawn Michaels for the IC Championship again. Versus Jeff Jarrett, which I believe we've seen before in 95. Versus Goldust at the Royal Rumble 1996. And then the Outsiders versus Sting and Lex Luger. Halloween Havoc Outsiders versus Harlem Heat. And then Scott Hall versus Scott Steiner from 97. Scott Hall versus Chris Jericho from 97. Uncensored 1998. Here it is, WCW World Heavyweight Championship match, Scott Hall versus Sting. So they actually have the 2 times he wrestled for the big title on this DVD set. And then the Outsiders versus Goldberg and Sid Vicious from 98. Scott Hall versus The Rock from 2002. And then WrestleMania 18, Scott Hall versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. So they put 2 matches from when WWF at the time, WWE, it's F for me. When they tried to bring back the NWO with the NWO Invasion, which is cool. So to me, it's 9 out of 10 because I would have liked to see some more WCW matches, but you could argue 10 out of 10 because you get a bit of everything. So I do this every time I review one of these DVDs because it appears to be working a little bit, but I'm not. That's just me being egotistical because they're coming out with the Hardcore Championship DVD set, which I've been asking for a long time. So I would still love to see a Kevin Nash DVD. I think with the Scott Hall DVD coming out, and I know people are buying it, that'll be in the near future. I still would love to see a Sean Waltman DVD. I would still love to see a Road Dogg DVD, Billy Gunn DVD, DX Army DVD. You could put a New Age Outlaws DVD together. You could put an Outsiders DVD together. And you could also do that DX Army DVD same way, where you just have little bits here and there. But hey, that's just me, so... Oh, another thing I forgot to mention. He mentions where he stole the Hey Yo from, which is from Rocky 2. So interesting. But yeah, that's it for me. I know this was super long-winded. I apologize. That's just the kind of guy I am, though. Passion. Stories. I want to tell you everything. So yeah, pick it up if you got an extra. I believe it's 20 bucks. I think you could get it on Amazon with Amazon Prime for like 17, I want to say. But yeah, pick it up if you haven't already. Support the guys, man. Come on. Do it. Buy it. Buy it. You want it. You want it in your house.